everybody? Welcome back to the Bay Bolts channel for another episode of Quick Strikes. My name is Michael Wax, joined as always with my co-host Jake Ricker. Another reverse retro night. As you can see, Jake is wearing his reverse retro merchandise. Jake, how are we doing tonight?
Michael, I am doing fantastic. Play all night, baby. Another day, another Lightning win. Granted, this one was a little more stressful than the last couple of ones, but hey, at the end of the day, it's all about making adjustments and getting the job done, and that's what the Lightning did tonight. So always good to stay in that win column.
Absolutely. And let's dive right into it. After the Lightning played a fairly good game yesterday. They came in today and they were really flat. Let's be quite honest with ourselves. Tonight was the Curtis McElhaney show. I know a lot of people were not very happy with Curtis McElhaney last game that he played in against the Panthers. He allowed some soft goals. He was out of position a lot. It happens. Those games sort of happen, but it really felt like for a lot of Lightning fans, that was the straw that broke the camel's back. Well, I think you heard you guys because tonight he was fantastic. He was the game's first, second, and third star. He was the Lightning's MVP. Well, the goalie's always the MVP, but he made some unbelievable saves. It was very unconventional at times, but hey, whatever works. And Curtis McElhaney stamp that guy with a star.
Well, you mentioned unconventional. It definitely was unconventional because McElhaney was still, I thought, out of position a lot of times. He went to play the puck again and lost control of the stick, which nearly gave me a heart attack as well. He was on his back a lot. Granted, half the time that also wasn't his fault, but when he needed to make saves, he did and made some tremendous saves. So huge shout out to him. I thought you're right. He absolutely bounced back from his last game out. At the end of the day, your goal is just to stop pucks. Whether if you're doing that, even if it is not in the prettiest way, like we've seen Andre Vasilevsky do so many times, a save is still a save. So, good for him to be able to get back in the groove. This will probably give him a lot of confidence too moving forward. So I would hope to see that maybe he can start to play even better as we move on through the season because he obviously will get more games in as we move on through the season.
Absolutely. And the Lightning are going to need him throughout the season because Andre Vasilevsky, his thing is, I want to play in every single game. Well, if Andre Vasilevsky is going to be ready in the playoffs, he can't play every single game. They need Curtis McElhaney to come in and get victories because, as we've seen so far, more than a quarter of the way through the season, this is a very tough division. And especially facing off against the Hurricanes, they're a very, very tough opponent, as we saw tonight. They were dominant on the shot clock. They were dominant in the face-off circle. They were dominant at drawing penalties, which we will get into the negatives of the penalties per se, but the penalty kill was just fantastic.
The penalty kill, I mean, seriously, how many times, I feel like this is another thing that we say all the time, but it was just so good. And especially on that 2 minute kill where, Coleman had lost his stick. Cernak was out of the game at that point because of an injury. They did such a good job at holding down the fort and never breaking at any point in there. And it's just the penalty kill has been so good for the Lightning. It's been so consistent which is good because the Lightning tend to take a lot of silly penalties, which we'll get into later. But that was awesome. And I think Coleman and Goodrow, McDonough, especially today, who we'll get into a little bit later, those guys were such a big part of that penalty kill and did such a good job. So that was awesome to see. I love that. That is one consistent thing for the Bolts is that you can always count on that penalty kill because they just keep time in and time again just continue to make sure that their opponent are not getting good opportunities, and they do this against good teams. Florida Panthers, who we just played recently, and the Carolina Hurricanes are both very good teams on the power play, and the Lightning penalty kill still finds ways to hold them off of the board.
Exactly. And, I hope that the Lightning penalty kill isn't on the ice all that much, but I'm very happy when they are on the ice because I know that the Lightning are going to generate a scoring chance off of being shorthanded, which is something you can't really say about a lot of other penalty kills around the league. One other positive for me, Jake, we'll get to your positives in a minute before we go to the negatives. One of the positives for me was Blake Coleman. I thought he was definitely the most energetic Lightning member out there, not only on the penalty kill, where he is elite, and I think that's why the Lightning got him last year at the trade deadline, was because he's an elite two-way player and penalty killer. But on that first line, he's provided a jolt of energy that is really needed. And that's no disrespect to Steven Stamkos. Steven Stamkos is tremendous talent. And he's really, really good with Andre Palat and Brandon Point. But it really feels like Blake Coleman is bringing a part of tenacity. He's bringing some speed to that line that you don't normally see from Stamkos in terms of being quick. You could talk about people being fast, but when we talked about Alex Barry-Boulet, actually, a lot of people say his speed isn't necessarily that good. Well, I disagree. I think he's very quick. His fastness, I know that's not a word, but like how fast he is, he's not very fast compared to many NHLers. How quick he is, that's what makes the difference between him and everybody else. But I think that what we see in Alex Barry-Boulet is very similar to what we see in Blake Coleman. He was my second star of the night, even though he did not register a point. Just a phenomenal game from Coleman.
No question about it. Blake Coleman was absolutely fantastic. I think he's just been hot. Over these last couple of games, we've seen him play really well. It seems like since that game where he passed up on one of the huge opportunities when they lost to Carolina, ever since then, he's been playing some of his best hockey right now. And you mentioned he didn't register a point in this game. The stat sheet doesn't tell you everything. I mean, look at Blake Coleman on that penalty kill. Without his stick, still did everything he could to try and make sure that Carolina did not have any good opportunities, and eventually was able to swipe that puck away as hard as he could to make sure the Lightning were able to get a change. They ultimately got called for a hand pass, but it did get him a whistle, so they were able to get everybody could get Coleman's stick back. So he was fantastic. A couple good opportunities on offense as well. Obviously, none of them went in, but Blake Coleman's been fantastic. Again, I said this in the last video, but 100% worth that first round draft pick as of right now. He's been great. He's been great for us ever since he came to this team, and I can't wait to see him continue to succeed in a Bolts uniform. But Michael, for my positive, I'm going to go with Ryan McDonough because I think he was the other MVP of this game, out there blocking shots left and right. He was a fantastic on the penalty kill as well. He was a huge bright spot. A lot of the other guys are really good too. Hedman was also very solid from the defenseman perspective, but McDonough was, I thought, a step above the rest. Me, Michael, we were talking on Twitter and saying that, when this game was not on the bright side for the Lightning or that early first period, it was clear that even despite the struggles, Coleman and McDonough were the two MVPs. They really stood out and were really playing their best hockey throughout this entire game. They played a full 60 minutes tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought the defense in general was just unbelievable. And that did stem from a negative in this game, which is that Eric Chernak went down with an injury. We don't know the extent of his injury, but it was kept out of the rest of the game. I hope for precaution, but that left the Lightning with five other defensemen, technically four, because you don't want to throw Cal Foot into the fire. So it was really tough for the defense, and I really think that they came through in this game as a unit. Mikhail Sergachev had the goal. Ryan McDonough had some great play on the penalty kill and a 5-on-5. Jan Ruda had some pretty good plays, which is really nice to see from him. Victor Hedman was Victor Hedman, so really nice job overall. Going to, I guess, our other negatives from the game. We talked last game about the face-off percentage being at 35.7%, which is just unacceptable. And we said, you know what? In a game where you are, I guess, winning by that much, it's not that big of a deal. You'd like to get it corrected, though. To start off this game, the Lightning were really good in the face-off dot. I want to say they were 70% through maybe the first 15 minutes of this game. That took a tremendous nosedive, and they finished at 44.6%, which is really bad. Like, I'm not going to harp on this too much, but I'd like to think that the Lightning are going to win more face-offs because as we saw in the power play, which is another just absolutely atrocious negative we'll get to, if you don't win face-offs, you're going to lose key power play time.
not only that will you lose power play time, but if you lose faceoffs in the offensive zone, that's when other teams can turn those plays into quick chances and often get a quick goal and swing the momentum right back the other way or continue the momentum that they already had. So faceoffs are definitely a big concern for the Lightning right now. It has not been well. As you mentioned, they were a little bit better earlier on in this game, but it didn't end up ending well. So, I don't know if they need to move some guys into the center position to try and take some faceoffs. Hey, I mentioned in our video about Andre Palat, which I'll link up in the top right. He's pretty good in the faceoff circle, and the Lightning tend to do pretty well when he's taking faceoffs, even though he hasn't taken too many. But I don't know what they need if they just need to practice a lot more, but I think that's something Cooper needs to look into and get them practicing because it definitely is a problem. But Michael, I thought the bigger problem, and you mentioned this, was that power play. This has been a problem. We kept saying for a while, let's see how things go. Cooper needs to work things out because they're still without Nikita Kucherov, obviously, but I think it's gotten to the point where this is clearly a problem. The Lightning were no success on the power play. I think they had 5 total power plays tonight in this game. So that's a problem. You've got to be able to convert on those opportunities when you're given them. Luckily, it didn't end up biting the Lightning in this one, but it will. Not every game is going to be like this. So the Lightning need to find a way to fix this. And I think part of it is they're trying to find those perfect passes, which I saw you mentioned on the Bay Bolts Twitter account when you were covering the game. Also part of it was the big problem for the Lightning early on in this game was they just seemed like they were a step off. They weren't able to get those passes to each other. They were having a lot of turnovers. They just seemed like a step behind everybody else. Now that slowly got better as the game went on, which was good. And I'll talk about that in a little bit because good teams make adjustments in order to win games. But there's clearly an issue in the power play, and it needs to be looked at. Hopefully, I wouldn't be surprised to see Cooper start changing some things, and I'm sure they'll be working that on in practice. But I also would love to hear from you guys too in the comments down below. Let me know who you think should jump on the power play. Should we see more ABV possibly playing in the lineup and him getting some power play opportunities? Or is there another player that you think deserves some power play time and could potentially help us out and get this power play rolling once again?
Yeah, the power play is not good right now. And I think that the Lightning and the Hurricanes were both beneficiaries of a whistle happy officiating crew. Between the two teams, there were 10 power plays, and we talked about how good the penalty kill was for the Lightning. And I feel like it's the exact opposite for the power play. I don't understand this pass happy mentality that we're seeing that we saw so much back in the year was 2016, 2017. They were such a pass happy group, and yet they ended up not making the playoffs because whether it was at 5-on-5 or at even strength or on the power play, they ended up struggling to score goals compared to other seasons. And compare struggling to score goals is very relative when it comes to the Lightning, but it's not what we're expecting. And right now, I would say that's exactly the same thing. They're still scoring goals at 5-on-5, but they're trying to make too many extra passes on the power play. Carolina's defense and Carolina's penalty kill is very good. I'm not going to take that away. But I really felt like the Lightning missed a ton of opportunities, and this could have very easily been a loss because when you're gifted opportunities like that and you're getting outplayed, that's how you get back into the game is you get your power play going. I'd love to hear from you, Jake. What are your what do you think would be the best idea to fix this? I know we're not the coach, but what do you think would be the best idea to fix this power play?
It's honestly hard to say. I think I'd like to see more of Andre Palat out there and more involved in this power play. We know he was a huge success when Steven Stamkos was out on the power play in the playoffs. He was awesome for them. He's got a wicked one-timer. So it's hard to say because, like you said, I'm not the coach. But here's the other thing too, Michael, that I'll mention. I don't know if you remember this, but when Nikita Kucherov was first announced that he was going to be out for the season, we made a video on this. We talked about how this is going to be adjustment for them on the power play, obviously, because that's one of the areas he is a big involvement in. And we talked about how the Lightning were able to find adjustment for Steven Stamkos, but you said that it could be completely different for Nikita Kucherov because he's a very different type of player than Steven Stamkos is. I think this is showing right now how important Nikita Kucherov is to this power play. It seems like when you take him out of the equation, it tremendously struggles because there's I don't know if it's just the way his shot is or the way his hockey IQ works or what it is. But at the end of the day, I'm starting to think that a big problem of this power play is just not having Nikita Kucherov. Hopefully they can find somebody that can fit in there. Like I said, maybe Andre Palat. I would love to see ABB get some more time on the power play to see if that could potentially help them out a little bit because he's another very, very good shot. But hopefully we can get Nikita Kucherov back when it comes playoff time or just the end of the regular season, and maybe he could be that boost that the Lightning need on the power play.
Yeah, and I think we saw some in-game adjustment from the power play, not this game necessarily, but a couple of games ago where I think it was Andre Palat had been transferred to the second unit and Patrick Maroon had been brought on to the first unit. And it didn't really work in the way that they wanted it to. So they transferred it back. And we've seen different slides in terms of Palat taking over for point and vice versa, and the second unit having different looks to it as well. Again, we are not the coach. We don't know what goes on in the day-to-day things. Maybe the power play looks great in practice and it's just not transferring. But what I'd like to see, like you mentioned, an increase in Alex Barré-Boulet if you can get him in the lineup because we saw him on the power play. That was basically where he got the extent of his time on the ice in his debut was on the power play. If you bring Ross Colton in the lineup, Ross Colton wins faceoffs. The one thing that I would say the power play struggled the most with, besides gaining zone entries, was winning that opening faceoff because they lost it and then they lost power play time. You got all of these young guys that are quick, that are skilled, that have tremendous wrist shots, that have tremendous slap shots. I would love to see them get opportunities on this power play. And another thing that I really want to see in the second unit, if you're going to keep Sergachev there, let Sergachev take slap shots. They work so well for Hedman on the power play with the one timer. Let Sergachev do it too, because Sergachev's shot is honestly better than Victor Hedman's. And it's more elusive than Victor Hedman. And when you've got screens in front, like a healthy Anthony Cirelli, hopefully he gets back very soon, and Yanni Gord in front, Matthew Joseph has been a net front presence on that second power play. Those guys are going to be able to either A, shield the goalie, or B, tip it in. I'd love to see these types of changes.
And the last thing I'll say, Michael, too, on this is that I do think we need to give some credit to Carolina. They're obviously a very good penalty killing team, and that could be also a small portion of why Lightning have struggled so much. Although this has been a problem for a while now against almost every single team, so it's something that does need to be fixed. But credit to Carolina because they are a very good hockey team, and you're not going to score on the power play in every single opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. And uh, hopefully this is not a recurring issue. I really want to say, like, I hope that the Lightning are able to come out next game and they go like 2 for 4, 3 for 4 in the power play. And those little things that we see have been changed. And even if they go 0-4 on the power play next game, those little things have been changed and they're generating chances. I think that's the most important feature of this upcoming game against the Dallas Stars, which, by the way, Tampa and Dallas are finally going to play each other.
Well, hang on. We don't have the game until that puck is dropped. Who knows? This game couldn't get canceled or postponed at this rate because it just seems like Dallas doesn't want to play us. But you're right. That is the next game. And hopefully we finally get to see that matchup because it should be a fun one.
Should be a very fun one. Dallas has struggled as of late, but they're still a very talented team with all that forward depth, defensive star power, and the goaltending duo right now of Anton Hudobin and Jake Ottinger. Got to rep my Boston University boy. But Jake, anything else for us in this very chaotic and very lucky win?
I think that just about does it. You're right. Chaotic is a great way to describe this because it was a very crazy game indeed. But a lot of credit goes to the Lightning as well, as they found good ways to make adjustments throughout this game, because I thought they did slowly get better throughout this game. Obviously, the first period was not great. They got better in the second period, and I thought they played well at the end of the third, obviously getting the win at the end of the day, which, as I've said a lot of times before, good teams find ways to make adjustments mid-game and win the game, even when you're not playing well. Obviously, you'd always like to play a near perfect 60 minutes, but that's just not going to happen game in and game out. So there is a lot of things to like this game from this game. There's some things to work on, but overall, the Bolts grab another win, and they are looking good. I believe I didn't see the final score of the Florida Panthers, but they were losing, so this does mean the Lightning took over first place in the division if that Florida Panthers score held up.
Well, Jake, I have some bad news for you. The Florida Panthers ended up coming back and winning that game. So, not quite sole possession of first place. It's still a very good record right now for the Lightning as they sit at 13-4-1, 1 point out of first place. So that's where we are right now.
The other thing too, Michael, that I forgot to mention is that the Lightning are now 2-0 in the reverse retro jerseys. So I don't know about you, but we need some more games with these things, because obviously we like to win games in them. And heck, I say just make them the home jersey because I love them so much.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, I saw a couple of people maybe incorrectly saying that they didn't really like the home or the alternate jerseys as much as some other people. Again, that's their discretion. They're free to like what they like and don't like. I think they're wrong, but that's okay. Jake, anything else for us in this episode?
That does it. I'm looking forward to these next couple of games against Dallas. Let's keep it going, boys.
Absolutely. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Ring that bell for notifications. Comment down below what you thought about this game, what you liked, what you didn't like. Hopefully, you liked Curtis McElhaney because he heard you guys after the Florida game. Be sure to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all our social media profiles for you, news, notes, and game recaps. Twitter is our most active one for game recaps, guys. Most of the time I'm doing the game. So come hang out with me. It's a lot of fun. Jake does games all the time as well. So we have a lot of fun during the games. But guys, for Jake Recker, my name is Mike Wax. This was an episode of Quick Strikes, and the Tampa Bay Lightning are your defending Stanley Cup champions.
Go Bolts.